Welcome back to the WP-Tonic show. It's episode 492, and we've got a really great guest, and I've been looking forward to this interview. We've got Ryan Moore from Uncannyowl. They're an agency that specializes in building websites in the e-learning area with LearnDash, and also got my great co-host Adrian with us. So Ryan, would you like to give the listeners and viewers a quick introduction?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Ryan Moore. I'm one of the founders of Uncannyowl. We're a Toronto-based e-learning agency. We do a lot with e-learning platform development, specifically with the LearnDash plugin. And we have a number of free and paid plugins available for LearnDash, as well as some other plugins.
They're great plugins. I use some of them myself.
Good, excellent.
Before we go into the main part of the interview, I just want to mention a couple of our great sponsors that really help us keep the show going. So we can get great guests like Ryan. And our first sponsor is Kinsta. I've been with Kinsta for about 3 years now. They only specialize in WordPress hosting, and I personally think they're one of the best hosting providers on the market at the present moment. If you've got a WooCommerce site, an e-learning site for yourself or for a client, you need some better hosting than the bog average that is offered a lot by a lot of other hosting providers. Also, I've noticed when I've gone to other sites for clients and they're not using Kinsta, I think to myself, I just can't go back to what they're using. I've got used to this really great interface and this really great support that I get from Kinsta, which is the best. And they also use Google technology to provide the hosting, so it's some of the best in the world, and it's really quick. So it's a win-win. So go over to Kinsta, tell them that you heard about them on the WP-Tonic show, and you'll be really helping the show. Our second sponsor is, I've gone blank. What is our second sponsor, Adrian?
Well, there's usually only two. It's either Kinsta or it's LaunchFlows.
LaunchFlows, thank you. Now, LaunchFlows.
You can tell he's been doing this for a really long time.
Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel. I've had a molding. I'm lucky I'm here. I've had technical troubles and my eyesight's gone a bit, listeners and viewers. So I've had multiple malfunctions. So, tell me again, what's the second
LaunchFlows.
LaunchFlows. I've been using LaunchFlows myself. Now, this gets precise what it does. You got to use LaunchFlows with WooCommerce and Animator, and with these two free additional products, you can build some really fantastic funnels, sales funnels, not only for your WooCommerce sites, but for anything. And it just makes it really, really easy. And visually, you can design anything. You're not limited by a rather ugly library. You can basically produce whatever kind of visual funnel you want. It's an amazing product. So go over there and use the coupon code WP-Tonic Rocks. I repeat that, WP-Tonic Rocks, and you'll get 25% off their plugin. Right, let's go right into the main part of the interview. So Ryan, you spent almost 20 years in the e-learning online education area. So what made you think that there was a good living to be made or good opportunities in choosing open source and particularly adding functionality to LearnDash?
Sure. So in terms of the history of Uncannyowl, we got started in 2013. Originally, we were going to go into building courses for people because that's what my partner and I had experience doing. So we started the first couple of months building up a portfolio, and we needed a way to showcase it. Again, at the time, we didn't have much WordPress experience. So we built a WordPress site, used LearnDash, which was very new at the time, to showcase the e-learning courses we were building. And nobody cared about our e-learning courses. They cared about how we were delivering them. using this new LearnDash system. So Justin at LearnDash featured us a bit and started recommending that people use us. So in the beginning, like we wanted to do more with course development, but all of the interest in our company was around the platform because no one was doing much in that space at the time. So over the first couple of years, like 2014 to 2017, then we just started bringing on people who actually knew what they were doing, some developers, and using them to help us and collaborate with us on building custom platforms with LearnDash and e-learning. So as that kind of grew and we had more projects behind us, then we had this huge portfolio of code and some really strong ideas about what did work and what didn't work on LearnDash sites. So where the gaps were and how we could fill them in. So originally, we decided we take some of that code, make it a bit more mature and reusable, and we released a free plugin, the Uncanny LearnDash Toolkit in the repo. And that was, I think it was in 2017. And then a paid add-on to go with it that added more features. So like at the time, it was still about 90% consulting, 10% sales from the product that we had, and the product side just kept going. So again, we stopped doing instructional design work. We slowed down on the consulting side and just really focused on the product. So just given the growth of that, it's more just like looking at where we were seeing the revenue, where we were seeing the interest, and it was with LearnDash and with the products we were building. So that's kind of how the business evolved into what it is now, based around LearnDash and some other plugins in the e-learning space.
Right, over to you, Adrian.
So you obviously have quite a team over there, yourself and your developers, and you have an extensive list of products. I'm just curious, how come that never manifested itself in your own LMS tool, and yet you stick with LearnDash with all of this expertise? Is there any particular reason you decided to stick with LearnDash and not just kind of go your own way?
There are a lot of reasons. First, LearnDash has the market share and the dedicated team to kind of focus on that product. And like we don't do much with marketing and we're not very good at it. So we can kind of fill in the gaps with LearnDash, and we can build things that are maybe more complex or niche than LearnDash could that are optional add-ons. Whereas taking on the entire LMS, then we wouldn't have the relationships, because right now we have a really good relationship with LearnDash. Mm-hmm. So it would kind of mess up our products, our current customers that depend on LearnDash. Like for us, it's just been a good fit, like having one company really focused on the core plugin, and then us focused on these extras that will benefit some users, but not all, and can do these things that wouldn't necessarily make sense in the core plugin itself.
So you've just really found your niche and you're happy there. Is really
yeah. Although with like we have one product, the Uncanny Automator product, that is a bit different in that it's not directly tied to LearnDash. It supports a number of different LMS plugins. So while we are kind of locked into LearnDash, which again in the LMS space does have the market share, does have the right audience for us, it still lets us diversify a bit and still do a lot more with e-learning and other plugins.
So I'm curious, you've seen a bunch of new companies coming in, purchasing your product, and e-learning is like booming right now. I was talking to Chris this morning, Chris at Lifter LMS, not LearnDash. And he's telling me that the last month or so has just been ridiculously busy as people are trying to sort out their lives at home and figure out something to do. I'm curious, are you seeing any trends in new customers and what kinds of projects that they're taking on in the learning space?
Yeah, definitely. So there are a couple of things there. Certainly in terms of demand, it's way up. Like we kind of have two channels there between consulting work and plugin development. The consulting work, I would say the demand is up, but actual revenues are down. Like there's more people that need things done, but less capacity to do it, and they don't have the budgets either. At the same time, our product sales are up probably around 40% compared to normal. So definitely it's a big increase there. The interest and demand for blended learning is also significantly higher.
What's blended learning for those who don't know, like myself?
Sure. So instead of delivering learning through just one channel, like online or in class, it's kind of bridging things together. So especially products like Zoom and GoToWebinar, like integration with those to deliver live training online has really surged. Like we have seen some growth in that space. We've done some big integrations, but there's definitely more opportunity there. Just how to mix self-directed learning with facilitated learning on right now is it's a big thing that's growing a lot at the moment.
So anybody who's can really solve that integration problem is going to be very busy.
Yes, they are.
I'm assuming you have something going on there right now, if not already.
It's tricky because like we're not that big a team. There are 7 of us full-time and 2 part-time. So we wish we were more agile, but at the same time, we've had to do a lot with our Uncanny Automator product over the last month, and not as much as we'd like in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. There are some other integration products that we're seeing from other vendors that are interesting, but there's not much that we're doing right now in that space.
But something that you're very interested at looking at in the near future.
Yeah, because we've done a lot of work in the past with GoToWebinar in particular and integration with LearnDash. Nothing public, but for some of the big consulting clients we have, that's a big thing for them. And for them right now, that's kind of what's keeping them afloat. Ones that depended previously on a lot of revenue from in-person sessions and workshops that are now having to turn online. Just having that capability that we built is allowing them to still maintain a business where they could have been in trouble otherwise.
Before I throw it over back to Jonathan, I just want to talk about one more point on the blended learning thing. I've never heard it put that way before. That's interesting. But for my own personal, I run a couple courses. One of them is called my Certified Partner course, and it's blended learning. So there's a prerequisite course that takes a few hours to go through, and then we have a biweekly Certified Partner Mastermind that comes after that, which is just a Zoom call that everybody hops in. I'm curious to know if there's a percentage, if you have stats on the percentage of people that experience like the success rate of a customer going through kind of like your standard bare bones, just like the self-taught education through the course or textbook or whatever, versus the success rate of someone who has that blended learning incorporated. Is there have you seen a significant percentage in increase by adding in that aspect?
We don't have numbers.
I
can't put anything behind that in terms of metrics. No, I did actually have an interesting call with someone yesterday who is looking at improving engagement. And that's a big part of their strategy going forward is putting in more interventions where there are checks and live sessions just to kind of get the user more involved. But we don't have data. Like we can't do the A/B comparison.
I suppose it would be pretty difficult to put that together. You need a very large sample size. But I was just curious if you've seen a trend maybe in your own courses. You don't do much in that area though anymore?
We don't create our own courses.
Yeah.
We don't. We're always just using other people's courses. Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan?
Yeah, I think we'll go for a break. We'll come back and we'll discuss with Ryan some amazing, he's got amazing amount of experience in the e-learning area. So we're going to delve into some great additional topics. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. It's all about e-learning and WordPress. So Ryan, what are some of the, you worked with quite a few clients. What do you think a couple of the fundamental mistakes that clients make that you've seen a general pattern when they're looking at building an e-learning course?
I don't know about on the course level. Let me talk about at the business level though, because we definitely see trends in terms of the success and viability of a business. Like we've done a few hundred projects with clients directly now, consulting projects. The ones that tend to do well are the ones that have a very clear plan and proven track record. So we get a lot of people that come to us and say, I have this really great idea. I know this is going to work. I'm expecting 10,000 students. And as soon as I see that, and just like they have the high level requirements, but they have no data behind it. As soon as I see that, then I know the project is not going to work. Like it's not going to be someone that we take on. So like the best projects and the businesses that really do well, like they've identified this gap. They know the opportunities there. They've already talked to customers. They have a clear plan for implementation. They have the budget in place. Like, they already know it's going to work, basically, because they've done the research and they've talked to their customers. So like, that's the biggest thing that we see, is that they have this proven need. They've identified the problem, and they know how to solve it. They come in with strong ideas.
So that's interesting. You said a realistic budget in 2020. I know it's a difficult question, but what do you think kind of, if you're launching a course the first time, but you've got the signs that you know what you're doing, what do you think is a realistic budget?
That is really broad, because on our side too, we're only looking at the platform. We're not looking at course development. Course development can be huge.
I'm looking for a very, very, rough number,
Yeah, so like, even in terms of rough numbers, like, people are turning to a lot of times like a WordPress LMS or LearnDash or something in that space, because they want something simpler and faster. So the authoring, like, if we're talking about the authoring first, then maybe they can spend only 25 hours or something per hour of content getting something out. Whereas you're authoring with something like Captivate, Storyline, Lectora, which are popular e-learning authoring tools, and it can be 150 hours per hour of content. So you can speed up development that way, but still, like, a realistic time it's still pretty high. Like, you can be looking at well over 50 hours per hour of online content. Then on the platform side, like, again,
you don't have a business just by installing an LMS.
No, you definitely do not. And then on our side, like, when we're looking at platforms, like, our audience, like, we only take projects on that are extremely complex. So they tend to have big budgets anyway. Like, generally, when we're looking, even if we're looking at developers with maybe less experience, they're offshore or something like that, we would still see kind of custom LearnDash or Lifter or whatever sites start at maybe around 5,000 USD is kind of the budget that we'd expect.
At least, yeah.
But
what they don't understand is the amount of hours, and really what's a really red flag is when they want they want to build out these War and Peace multi courses, and they want to put in like 20 lessons, and they want to do this because they think that provides value, but what they have no conception of the amount of hours they're going to have to put in. So it's best to look for a small initial course, isn't it?
It is, definitely. Yeah, like, I think speed to market is really important too. So if you can get something live and get a course in there and start attracting customers, it's going to help out compared to doing everything at once and having delays and scope creep and never getting off the ground, for sure.
It's also speed to result. Like, if you have, like, as Jonathan mentioned, War and Peace, and your thing is like 25 lessons and each lesson is like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Then the total amount of time is 150 hours or is it, I don't know, 75 hours or whatever it is for the actual customer to actually experience any sort of transformative results. So if you're spending all of that time on that course and all that content, if the customer doesn't, especially in a B2C market, in a business to customer market, if the customer isn't receiving value within like the first like 2 or 3 lessons, then you've already lost like potential revenue going forward, because they're just going to abandon.
Yeah. The other thing is unrealistic timelines. Let's say your first course, you've got one course with 12 lessons, and it's your first attempt at this. What would your advice be, a realistic timeline from an initial conceptual idea to actually having a live website that can take revenue?
Generally speaking, like, if there's an element of customization to the platform, so there is a developer behind it, as well as, say, there's a dedicated instructional designer, or it's the person authoring the course themselves, like, minimum time we'd see is still 4 weeks. But there are tons of projects we do that they've just gone on for years. So we have a lot of customers where I would say they do underestimate what it's going to take, and they do bite off more than they can chew, because it's very common with e-learning projects that we see for the platform to be ready way too soon for the content. and then they get kind of out of sync, and it's I think it's hard for people that are just doing this for the first time to plan what it's going to take and the time it's going to take. And it's a lot, and yeah, we do see things go over when they shouldn't.
I personally think, you know, if you've just got one course, 12 lessons, and you got somebody like yourselves, or you got WP-Tonic advising you, 3 months, it seems a lot of time, but from beginning to end, you'd be lucky to get it all done in 3 months. But I think that is achievable.
It is. Like for non-consulting projects, like we do have another product called Uncannyowl, which is basically like a pre-built LearnDash platform that people can jump into. When we see people go into that. So this is like taking the platform development outside, like, so excluding that since it's already done, except for some design work. Like even then, I think the minimum time we've had for people to take the site live, and that's with the platform being ready, is 4 weeks. For us, when we were still doing a fair bit of consulting, like average project time was about 3 months. If it was any more than about 4 months, then we divide it into multiple phases and try to go live after the first one, and then tackle some of the more complex functionality later on, so that at least something was out there and they could do something with it.
Because you really, you know, even if you got quite a bit of industry experience, there's nothing like getting those first group of students in to learn about the areas that you got to really improve, is there?
Yeah, definitely. And the testing is important. I think that's overlooked too. You kind of mentioned that. We don't see enough e-learning sites that do significant user testing before they launch to the public. And it can be a hugely valuable source of information, just getting feedback from people that can provide it, and just making sure nothing's broken, it makes sense, it flows well, there's enough engagement, like facilitator intervention where there needs to be. So yeah, it's not even just getting it out the door, it's making sure that you launch with something that's usable and that people find value in.
Over to you, Adrian.
Just before we started talking about you mentioned that you don't work with anybody who comes in and says, I'm expecting 10,000 students and I want this up by the end of the week and I have this great idea. I think, do you think that COVID has kind of brought those people out of the woodwork, and that's where a lot of the surge is coming from? Because all of the dreamers are essentially getting online because they have nothing better to do. Is that the surge?
Yeah, they are. At the same time, we are a bit of an anomaly because, like, even though we have contact forms on our site, we have like big warnings saying we are not taking on new projects. Please do not contact us. People still do. We still get like 1 or 2 a day. But from what I'm seeing, like LearnDash has a very active Facebook group. So what I'm seeing there, as well as from the inquiries that do come in, is that yes, there's way more interest in people thinking they can do something now. They have the time. At the same time, like people that are actually doing development, so competent LearnDash, Lifter, and other developers, they're really strained right now. So typically, even when we weren't taking on projects, we would refer them out. But then I'm seeing like from those people, please don't refer anything else out. We don't have capacity. So it's just like, there are too many people that want to do this. And like a lot of them do have really great ideas and a vision for it, but there aren't enough developers right now. So yeah, the demand is way up and the capacity is just not there right now either.
So what's is there an opportunity or a solution, or are we just going to have to wait it out?
Right now we are waiting it out. Like it's back when we started doing a lot of work with LearnDash, we were one of the only ones in the space. There was us and really a company in India called Wisdom Labs that were kind of the bigger players in LearnDash consulting. Whereas now there are hundreds. There are hundreds that are offering these services. So it's still growing, and I think the growth is good. It's there to meet demand. It's definitely harder to assess how to find a good developer right now, and just of the ones that we know that are good, it's their time is very limited.
Is the search temporary?
I think it might be. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if there's a general shift. it's hard to say. Like everyone's clamoring for it right now, but if things change like in August, September, I think demand will go down a bit. Yes.
All the dreamers will go back to doing whatever they were doing before.
I think a lot of them are going to be disappointed and disheartened right now, just because it's hard to find the support that they need. So I think that is going to turn some people away. Like I think again, capacity will grow, but I don't know if it'll be enough. And yeah, once things do return a bit more to normal, I think it'll go down. Like I'm not expecting our sales in particular to be this high through the summer, through September, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will. So we're about 25 minutes into the interview. I think we'll wrap it up and we go on to bonus content. You're right, staying on for another 10, 15 minutes, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, that's anytime you want.
So Ryan, what's the best way for people to contact you, find out more about you, your company and your services?
Sure. If anyone wants to find out more about our plugins or products, the best way to contact us is you can visit our websites, uncannyowl.com and automatorplugin.com, or send an email to support@uncannyowl.com.
Oh, that's great. And Adrian, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to? I think you've got a new version coming up as well of Groundhog, haven't you?
Yeah, I do. 2.2 is on its way, and we've completely overhauled our reporting dashboard that will rival even the most comprehensive of software as a service.
Yeah, you've done enough. I saw you on Facebook, Carl.
So we're really excited for that. Lots of data to look at and some serious actionable insight into the way that your email marketing performs, which can seriously help you if you are in the process of building a learning management platform and you're trying to keep people engaged with your content as well as get new people engaged with your content. We can certainly help with that. Go to groundhogwith2gs.io. We actually have a course dedicated to marketing strategies for learning management companies. And that's available at academy.groundhogwith2gs.io.
Right. I'm going to be asking Ryan what he thinks of the SaaS competition like Kajabi and a couple of the others. Are they try and sell themselves as being a lot easier than WordPress, are they? And also I'm going to be asking him what in the next year, what does he see as some leading trends in the e-learning area? I've got some opinions. So they're a couple of questions I'm going to be asking Ryan. We'll be back next week with a more healthier version of me and hopefully less technical trouble. Thanks for my co-host Adrian. He's been a blast. He's helped me out this morning. Ryan's been forgivable, but I think we've covered some interesting topics. We'll be back next week with another fantastic guest. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye. So on to the bonus content. So what is in the next year? What do you think some of the major trends are going to be in the e-learning platform area, Ryan?
Yeah, I've seen what some of them are working on. I think we'll see more around B2B features, specifically around managing organizations and groups and teams and learning for those. I think with our plugins and with other plugins, we'll see a lot more growth in personalized learning, engagement, but also just in personalized learning paths. So basically like looking at how someone is performing and just based on their behavior and learning progress, then kind of getting the right learning in place. So I think we'll see more there with our Automator plugin and other things. I think metrics are gonna, like, I don't know, just for a lot of the learning plugins that we work with, there's a lot more that can be done with metrics and user assessment. Like, I don't know, you get to some of the bigger LMSs and kind of more formalized learning, and there's more attention for sure in actual knowledge transfer. Like I think we'll see more there just because the enterprise is doing it, that we'll see more like assessment of like how someone's reacting to the learning, also how it's translating to job performance, to organizational change, things like that. So I think those are going to be good. And again, I talked a bit about the increased focus on webinar integration and virtual learning that's facilitated there's going to be a lot more in that space.
How do you see 3G affecting the e-learning? You know, it's a buzzword, but I think in the next 18 months, it's going to be a much more there as
5G.
5G, so 5G.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that I do right now. I don't know. Like one of the biggest, I think, things that holds WordPress LMS learning back is like it can't do things like offline learning. There's no good solution for that right now, whereas the cloud and commercial LMS providers can do a lot in that space. So like right now, it's expected that in WordPress e-learning, it's always on, and it's a bit more difficult to do in a mobile platform. So I don't know, it would be good to see more in that area, like especially around XAPI, so just one of the e-learning standards for tracking data and doing something with the data. It would be good to see growth there, but like I don't know that increased connectivity is really going to help, because right now it's kind of a constraint that WordPress learning can't work without it anyway.
Right. Well, I get the pattern. So over to you, Adrian.
So I have a couple questions about competition. Jonathan wanted to specifically talk about the SaaS competition and how that's affecting the WordPress market right now. And then I have a further question about competition and when people come into the space in which you occupy and how you prepare your company as well as protect your brand and your product. So I have a couple questions. So let's start off with the first one. Let's talk about SaaS for a moment.
Yeah.
And how is the SaaS LMS versus the WordPress LMS space going to move forward after the start of this whole COVID thing?
Yeah. So I know LearnDash, the team, doesn't like me talking about this, but for us, like we turn a lot of people, I would say, away from WordPress if we don't find it's the right fit. Like we get so many inquiries, and WordPress LMSs are not always easy to set up and manage, and it's not always the right fit. Like we see a lot of people reach out and want to get into the space. They're attracted to the cost, especially. That tends to be the main driver. They're looking at WordPress, but they haven't considered the cloud competition. Like the cloud LMSs can do a couple of things really well, and that's like really streamline the experience for people that are using kind of modules authored with e-learning authoring tools. It's a better user experience out of the box. The learning curve is simpler. They don't have to worry about ongoing maintenance. So a lot of people,
Stripe, billing, all of that stuff. It's just all
it all just works.
Yeah.
They have one party to talk to. They don't have to worry about plugin conflicts. They don't have to worry about hosting. They don't have to worry about scaling. So a lot of the inquiries we get, we do direct them to those platforms. Like there's definitely a space for them. Like where WordPress really has the advantages is with the flexibility, the ownership of the data, just giving people more creative tools. And so for people that need that flexibility and can take this on, then they can do far, far more with WordPress than they can with the cloud platforms, because they're closed and they have no integrations that they're looking for. So I don't know, there's a market for both. It's not like we say that WordPress is a better platform for learning, because it's not, and it is in some cases, but not in all. So we kind of go through that qualifying step with people just to make sure, like, is WordPress actually the right fit?
Do you find that it's really like established businesses that have the highest success rate with WordPress platforms because they have the patience, the investment, and people to back it up?
Not necessarily. Like I think it's harder for like solopreneurs and people trying to do things independently to really do everything on their own with WordPress plus their business. I think that's harder. But like small teams all the way up to enterprise, then they can find a fit. Like there's not really an ideal audience or business or organization. I don't know. It depends on kind of their. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
The e-learning area or e-learning management platforms, it's a very diverse environment, from platforms that really design for internal training or business to business, to something like Kajabi, which is, you know, business consumer focused, isn't it? Where they say it's really easy to use Kajabi, and they've got a lot of the marketing already inbuilt into the platform. So it's a very diverse environment. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But when
So
it
I
comes,
have,
go on, sorry, go on, off you go.
I have, of course, a follow-up question about competition, because there's a lot of competition in the LMS space, SaaS, WordPress. There's like 4 or 5 LMS plugins for WordPress right now, and then there's like 20 times that in the SaaS industry. But you've kind of dug yourself out a little niche product with Uncanny Automator, and you recently had there's been some new competition coming in for that where there wasn't a whole lot before. And I'm curious, as a business, what your business plan was, and what steps to protect your business and protect your customers did you take when that new competition came out?
Yeah, definitely. So our Uncanny Automator plugin has been around for about 1.5 years now. It's one that we really liked and our team liked, but it's never been a revenue driver. Like it didn't have a lot of attention, and we didn't really push it. Given that we're a small team and already have like 5 commercial plugins and 2 free ones, like plus all the consulting work, it's hard to dedicate the attention to the plugins that we need to. So given that we were kind of letting Automator ride for a little while and developing periodically on it, the competition that entered the space did a very good job of pushing us to figure out how do we stay ahead of the competition now that there is some, because there were some similar products. Like you could do some of the things with Zapier if they were simple, IFTTT. There were also, like in specific spaces, there were products like Automate Woo that focused on WooCommerce. So there was kind of slightly related competition already, but once we had direct competition, then it really forced us to focus on how do we maintain our lead here? How do we protect something that we've spent 4,000 hours developing, and really take it to the next level so that nobody's going to want to use any product except ours. So when it first happened, we dropped everything. We had some very unhappy clients for a little while there, for basically 3 weeks, and focused everything on how do we make this a better plugin and suitable for a public audience. And we decided to take the freemium approach, which we'd done previously with one of our other plugins. So the Uncanny LearnDash toolkit that we introduced a couple years ago, it had a premium version, and that premium version like is a huge revenue driver for us. Like it's a very popular plugin. So we thought if we take that model and we introduce people to it for free and give them even more things for free. So there's a lot of features that were previously paid that are in this free version that we introduced. Then it's going to expand the market for it, give people a good introduction, and encourage them to see the value in what the pro version could offer. So for us, it also, like, given that focus, like it helped us build a better product. So we've got a better product out of it. It really encouraged a number of other developers who've been watching Automator that I didn't know about to then reach out and say, hey, I know it's what you guys are up to right now with the free version. Now that it is free, let's talk about how we can work together. So like the last 2 weeks, I've had a number of calls with developers, like how do we integrate with their products? How do we make their products better and ours better by working on integrations? So we've been doing a lot of that. So at this point, kind of the stress of the competition is down. We have seen revenue go up, and we have a ton of new relationships and a lot of support. So it's a good path forward for us now that we might not have had if we hadn't had the competition. It made us kind of rethink things and do better things.
Everybody tells me that direct competition is always a good thing for the business and for the consumer, simply because, you know, when you're forced to knuckle down and build better products, generally you get better results. So I'm glad that, you know, it's not you know, a terrible result for you, and it's actually kind of a good result all around. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any specific advice that you'd provide to business owners who maybe are experiencing a lot of direct competition, maybe in the LMS space right now, that you could provide them that will help them see the better path forward?
Yeah, so I know you talked to Chris at Lifter earlier, and we'd had kind of this conversation some time ago. And Chris's approach here was that he has a lot of competition. Like in the LMS market, it's a lot more cluttered than what we do with our plugins. So he doesn't so much focus on the competition and what they're doing because it can get extremely stressful. And that's what happened to us. Like when we were focused too much on the competition, then it was hard to be productive and see the path forward. But if you're focused on your users and providing value and just looking at that, then I think it allows you to kind of get that focus and figure out how to do better things for your audience.
As Chris said, so always put your customer at the center of your business, nobody else, and definitely not yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Valuable advice. Thank you for that.
Right. Obviously, with LearnDash, they had a major update, LearnDash 3.0, and I think it was overall a very successful update. I spoke to Jake, the of 10 Up, that helped Justin in the building of that version. But there's always scope for improvement. You know, what are there one or two areas where you think if only they could improve it? You know, I think to me the certificate is really needing some love and attention. But what about, are there a couple other areas that you think that need some love and support?
Yeah, certificate creation has always been very painful with LearnDash. I have seen some of what they're doing, and some of the features that are coming down are very, very interesting. In terms of other areas,
you have to tattletale on the boss now.
I'm trying to think what, I don't know. Like,
well, I think they did do a lot.
Well, here's what happened. Everything that they needed to improve is you just bundled in your plugin.
that's the tricky balance, and that's the like where we do kind of run into trouble with LearnDash is there, because like, we have so many dependencies. The goal with LearnDash 3.0, from Justin's team's point of view, was to build a plugin that was simpler, that could compete with the cloud LMS platforms, and that they could advertise as saying, everything you need is in this plugin. Like you can build a simple site, you don't need anything else. Whereas most of our business model is based on the premise that LearnDash is really good, but we can help you make it even better. Yeah. So it's a bit of a conflict there. So like there is a lot they can do still that they can improve, but LearnDash has been around for a while. There are over 100 plugins for it now from third parties. Yeah. So a lot of people, like thousands of people, have worked with it and understand kind of where there are gaps, and a lot of people have been able to fill those gaps. There's more that can happen with quizzes too. Like quizzes can still be difficult to manage. Yeah. So certificates, quizzes, I could see more happening with CourseGrid. There are some things that can be improved, but there are still a lot of third-party developers that are filling in some of those gaps.
I think that was a great synopsis. I'm in total agreement, Ryan. We're going to wrap up the show. Ryan, thanks for being our guest. I think we've covered a lot of stuff in this interview. It's been really great. We'll be back next week with hopefully a similar quality guest than Ryan Moore. We'll be back next week, folks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.